Hello, welcome to my channel. I just dropped my pen here. I'm going to be working on this comic book right now. Sorry, turn the sound off. So basically, I'm inking this right now digitally in Clip Studio Paint. So here you can see kind of the wild stuff I got going on. And I'm going to be going into color soon, so I guess just sit back and relax and watch how I do this. So this like gumball looking machine looking object is powers the ship, and you can see that right here. Here's the ship, here's a close-up view of it, and here's the side right there. It's just emphasizing lots of power and usage. So every little detail that I add in this part, it makes it easier when I go to paint it, since all the shadows and everything are showing, and so that'll help me out later in the process, which I'm almost done. I mean, technically I could go and start painting, but I'm doing a little bit of a different process this time. I want to lay all of the pages out because I added some. When going through the story, I changed the whole layout of my comic, and it's just a whole thing. I was going to do like an 80 to 90 page thing, but I changed it to more around like 30 something, maybe 40 pages. So I think this is more of a safer route for me to do this beforehand and then look at how the pages flow. And then from there, I could do all the coloring, and it would be a little bit time consuming, but easier. So I just came back from a trip out west where I went to like Yellowstone, a bunch of national parks, that sort of thing. And it's always a refreshing time. You're kind of doing all these hikes, and you just see the nature and stuff, and all the perspective, and everything's just so gigantic compared to here in Florida, which is flat. So it even helps with my artistic, you know, mindset, or even the library that I can pull from. You see things in real life, and it just helps overall. So probably for the rest of the year, I'm going to be grinding this out. Hopefully, things turn out good. So we will see. Just never know. Browsing over. Let's go back to this part right here where this whole scene right here, it's he's going back in his memory, this character right here. You can kind of see the nose and the eyes, and it focuses in the eye, and then it goes into like a past memory of what happened when he went through this path previously. So I hope that comes along. It can be a little bit of a challenge to tell a story in such static images, basically. So right here, I'm drawing the side of a cliff face. I'm just looking at it, as it comes closer to the viewer. Some of the shapes will get larger, if that makes sense. But being like a rocky surface and stuff, it doesn't always work that way. comes to making rocks and stuff, there's always a lot of like angular shapes and sometimes you have smooth areas where, you know, air, wind, and water kind of shape the rock here. So it's always good to kind of mix it up, and then you got to consider the lighting. Let that flow into there. Just looking down. I'm gonna say the further this gets down, let's add some wide lines down here, since it's gonna be a little bit more shaded. So it's almost like having a gradient as it goes down. So you're looking at it from like this. Now, of course, the Atas oil on the bottom here, that's that can't really see, or obviously it's not colored, so but it does give off light. But I'm gonna say it's too far up for the light to be showing, so I'm gonna continue with that gradient. You know, and it's almost like standing on the edge of a cliff and looking down. It's gonna get darker, or you know, the atmosphere is going to cover it up a little bit, so just not gonna see as much detail. Down here I can go over, and if you're wondering, I'm using, this is in Clip Studio Paint. It's not the newest version. I think this is 2, or I don't think I upgraded it all the way. I'm just kind of waiting a little bit, but I'm using the mapping pen, and I lowered the opacity to 48. So that the opacity, I mean, you can experiment with what you like, but I don't like it if you go in here and just push it all the way. For me, it's just too dark. I mean, it's not horrible. So, you know, even at 100%, which I'm using, is actually not bad. Just I think it gets a little bit too dark too quick. But let's mess around with this and see if I can, because it, not bad. think if you do a light touch, like if you have a screen like this, um, this should be able to register how sensitive it is, how sensitive you touch the screen. So I would recommend experimenting. And it's always good to, use the eraser as a drawing tool too. So, like I said before, as if you're standing, looking down, like you're in, I don't know, Grand Canyon or Yosemite, to one of those parks, and you're looking down, and you see, obviously the shapes are going to get smaller as you look down. So it's always, taking into consideration that. So let's darken some of this. So, you don't even have to use this cross-hatching method. Whatever works. I like it. I like to use the cross-hatching because I can use it in traditional art or whatever, and it works really effectively there. So, um, it's almost like getting double the practice. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So we have this fiery explosion here. You're gonna have to add a lot of randomness to this. And that's really gonna take practice. And like I was saying earlier, here is the main body of the ship. So, you know, you're adding the gradient down as it's tilted this way. So basically like the shadow looking down. Kind of random details in there. Add some more debris. So the shading on this wing right here is a little tricky because you're gonna have the fire is going to create light, so it's gonna have light surrounding it. Sorry, I have these like tiny sugar ants in here, and they're always biting me. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to eliminate these ants. See how I'm using the eraser as like a pen. Let's go back up here, add some like debris. Since the angle right here is looking, it's more steep, the right side of the canyon is going to show a little bit more. So something along the lines of, kind of sketch this out. So here you might see more of the the bottom. Or at least that's how my head, it works in my head. You know what would be interesting here is, like I said, some of that eraser going in there. Is having something like that, and obviously as it gets higher up, piece of something, some kind of it's like I have to erase all that nice texture I made in there, but that's how it is. You gotta eliminate stuff to tell the story. If it's more dynamic to do it like this, then more dynamic and tells the story better, then I think it's more effective than having a pretty surface or texture. Just, it's like a metal piece or something. Part of the surface of the ship, something like that. I hope that's translating somewhat effectively. You know what's bothering me here is this big piece. I think it's a little bit too dark, so right now I'm going to erase it. Not entirely. resurface this. I think it was just a little bit too dark. Pause the stream for a little bit.